A soft piano melody begins, slow and delicate, almost like a memory coming back to life. The screen fades from black into the bright lights of Beverly Hills at night. Luxury cars pass, storefronts shimmer, and the city feels alive. Then, words appear on screen. After 35 years, the love story that defined a generation returns. A deeper, steady voice continues. Once upon a time, a chance meeting changed everything. But time has a way of rewriting even the most perfect fairy tales. Asterisk the piano plays on, carrying the audience back into a world they thought they had left behind. The camera glides through the streets of Los Angeles, catching the glow of neon lights, the movement of people, and the timeless feel of a city that never sleeps. Suddenly, the screen flashes to a quiet room. A man stands near a tall window, looking out. His hair is silver now, but his presence is the same, confident, strong, but softened by years. This is Edward, once the charming businessman who believed he had everything, till he met a woman who changed his life. His voice drifts in softly over the image. I thought our story was written. But some chapters never really close. We cut to Julia Roberts as Vivian, walking through a glamorous hotel lobby. The camera doesn't linger on her face at first, it moves slowly from her heels. The click of her steps echoing through the marble floors, to her hand carrying a small purse, and finally to her face. Time has touched her gently. She is radiant, still carrying that spark, that smile, that lit up a whole generation. She stops, looks around the lobby, and breathes in deeply, as if the air itself holds memories. The narrator's voice rises again, almost like a whisper. Fairy tales don't fade. They evolve. We then see Vivian standing outside the hotel at night, her eyes catching the reflection of a limousine pulling up. The tinted window rolls down, and for the briefest second, her smile softens, almost breaking. Edward steps out, dressed in a perfectly tailored suit. Their eyes meet. For a moment, the world goes quiet. The background music swells into a gentle orchestral build. Then we hear a simple line of dialogue from Edward, his voice carrying both hesitation and hope. Vivian, it's been a long time. Cut to Vivian's reply. Just one line, but filled with emotion, with history, with everything that was left unsaid. Some things never change. The camera cuts quickly to images of them in their earlier days, black and white flashes of their iconic limo ride, their dance, the unforgettable red dress. Then we're brought back to the present, where those moments now feel like echoes. The narration deepens, but life doesn't stand still. Love doesn't wait, and every fairy tale must face its tomorrow. The screen bursts into a montage. Beverly Hills streets bathed in golden morning light. Edward walking through boardrooms where power and business still follow him. Vivian looking at her reflection in a mirror as though trying to recognize the woman she once was. Between these moments, the piano shifts, joined now by strings. Hinting at both nostalgia and something new, we see Vivian walking with another figure, Zendaya. Her daughter, confident, young, bold. A quick cut shows Edward watching his son, played by Timothée Chalamet, pacing in frustration in a lavish office space. The seeds of a new story are being planted. But the first section holds the focus tightly on the return of the two. People who began it all. The music holds on a single rising note. The lights of the city reflecting in Edward's and Vivian's eyes as the camera lingers on them both. A voiceover closes this section, steady and haunting. Some stories are never over. They simply wait for the right moment to begin again. The screen fades to black. Asterisk. The screen fades in with the sound of footsteps, confident, echoing across the polished marble floors of a fashion studio. The camera follows the stride of Zendaya, dressed in sharp, modern fashion. Her presence commanding the room, even without words. She adjusts her jacket, tosses her hair back, and looks at the designs scattered across a table. The city belongs to her generation now. The lights are brighter, the pace faster, the world more demanding. A low, rhythmic beat replaces the soft piano of Section 1, signaling a shift in tone. The narrator speaks. Every fairy tale finds its next chapter, and every generation writes its own ending. Zendaya plays the role of Vivian's daughter. It's raised in the shadow of glamour but determined to stand on her own. The camera shows her at a photo shoot, flashing cameras capturing her elegance and ambition. But then, the scene cuts to her back at home, the weight of expectation pressing against her. Vivian enters, watching her daughter with proud yet worried eyes. She reaches out, her voice gentle. "You don't have to prove anything to this world," Zendaya's character turns, frustration in her face. "I'm not you." "Mom, I don't want to be remembered for someone else's story." The music rises, tension threaded into every note. Cut to Timothée Chalamet, Edward's son. The shot is very different. Dimly lit, a stark office space filled with tall glass windows. He leans against a desk, papers scattered, his jaw tense. He isn't polished like his father. His suit is slightly undone, his tie loose. He's a rebel inside a world that demands perfection. A voiceover from Edward drifts over this image. "I gave him everything." But sometimes everything isn't enough. Timothy slams his fist against the desk, pacing before storming out into the night streets of Los Angeles. The city lights blur as he walks with determination, a man running from the weight of his last name. The two worlds collide when Zendaya and Timothée cross paths, literally. A sudden cut to a crowded Beverly Hills street. Zendaya, rushing with her phone in hand. Timothée pushing through the crowd, not looking up. They bump into each other. Papers scatter, her phone drops. For a brief moment, silence. The camera slows. She looks at him with sharp eyes, annoyed. He smirks faintly, brushing off his jacket. There's no instant fairy tale, no easy charm. Instead, it's friction sharp, electric. "Zendaya, you should watch where you're going, Timothée. Maybe you should slow down." Their words hang in the air. More challenge than apology. The narrator's voice cuts in softly from the echoes of the past. Rises a new story, raw and untamed. Montage follows. Zendaya striding through a runway in Paris, lights flashing. Timothée driving through the city at night, rooftop down, wind in his hair. The two of them arguing outside a party, the tension so strong, it almost sparks. Vivian, watching from afar, her expression torn between pride and fear. Edward sitting in silence at a boardroom table, feeling the weight of legacy pressing down on him. The music builds faster, the beat echoing like a heartbeat. Quick flashes show Zendaya standing before a mirror, questioning if she is repeating her mother's path. Timothée, in a nightclub, surrounded by noise but looking lost, like a man who doesn't belong anywhere. Finally, they meet again, this time, not by accident. A rooftop dinner party, city lights behind them. They speak in hushed tones, their dialogue overlapping with the swell of the soundtrack. Zendaya softly, "Do you ever feel like you're trapped in someone else's story?" Timothée, after a pause, "Every day," their eyes lock. For the first time, it isn't tension, it's recognition. Two people from different worlds realizing they share the same weight of legacy. The music cuts suddenly, placed by silence and the sound of Zendaya's breath. She turns her face away, but not before we catch a flicker of something: curiosity, maybe even hope. The narrator closes this section with a low, lingering line: "When past and present collide, the future is born." The screen fades to black. Asterisk, the screen opens to silence. Not music, not dialogue, just the soft hum of city traffic in the distance. A spotlight falls on Vivian, sitting alone in front of a vanity mirror. The glow of Hollywood bulbs reflects back her face, lined with years of triumphs and quiet regrets. She brushes her hair back slowly, staring into her own eyes as if searching for the girl she once was, the dreamer who believed in impossible love. Her whisper barely carries, but it lingers. "I thought I left that life behind." The silence breaks with a sharp cut Edward's voice. Firm, echoing inside a boardroom. This family doesn't survive on dreams. It survives on control. The camera shifts to Edward, standing at the head of a long table, his son sitting opposite him. Timothée, unshaven and restless, taps a pen against the wood with defiance. Around them, executives shuffle nervously, sensing a storm. Edward leans forward, his voice steady but dangerous. You think rebellion builds empires? It destroys them. Timothée shoots back words like fire. And what did control ever give you, Dad? A life so polished you can't even breathe. The tension is unbearable. The music creeps back in, a low cello dragging like the weight of unspoken truths. Cut to Zendaya, pacing across her apartment floor, voice raised in frustration. Vivian listens, her hands folded tightly, trying not to show the fear creeping into her chest. Zendaya stops, glaring at her mother. You walked into a man's world and bent to their rules. I won't be another pretty woman in somebody else's story. Vivian's reply is softer, trembling with honesty. I wasn't just a pretty woman. I was a survivor. Don't forget that. The words hang heavy, both women locked in silence. Neither willing to surrender, the scene fractures into montage. Vivian walking past Rodeo Drive, watching a younger version of herself in every shop window. Edward driving alone at night, his reflection in the glass haunting him with choices he can't undo. Zendaya on the runway, her beauty undeniable, but her eyes unsettled, as if she is living. A script she never wrote. Timothée sitting on a rooftop, cigarette smoke curling in the wind. A lost prince in a kingdom he never asked for. The narrator's voice cuts through. Quieter now, almost pained. The past was built on dreams. The present is built on walls. But walls cannot stop what's already written. The music swells into chaos. We see Zendaya storming out of a gala, her gown flowing behind her as cameras flash. Timothée follows, ignoring his father's shouting. Outside, under the Beverly Hills lights, they clash once again. Zendaya. You don't understand me, Timothée. I don't need to. I feel the same fire burning. Their faces are inches apart, anger and desire twisted into something neither can control. The camera lingers, the world around them blurring, until the moment breaks. She pulls away, disappearing into the night. He stays, his chest rising, torn between following and surrendering. Cut sharply to Edward slamming a door, Vivian chasing after him. Their argument echoes through a grand home filled with memories. Edward. We gave them everything, and it's never enough. Vivian. No, Edward. We gave them everything but the truth. The music halts silence again. A single shot of Vivian standing in the doorway, her shadow cast long behind her. Tears brimming but unfallen. The narrator closes with a line that pierces through the dark. When the children of love carry the weight of legacy, hearts will break. Before they heal, the screen fades to black. Only the sound of a heartbeat echoing into the next section. Asterisk. The screen bursts open with motion. Strings swell, drums echo like a racing heartbeat, and the city is alive in golden twilight. Rooftops, hotel lobbies, runways, and limousines flash by in a whirlwind montage. The story is no longer whispered. It's crashing toward its climax. We begin with a gala. Chandeliers blaze above, cameras flash, and the air hums with music and chatter. Vivian stands on the edge of the ballroom, dressed in a flowing gown of deep red, a deliberate echo of her iconic past. Her eyes follow her daughter Zendaya, who sweeps across the floor in a dress shimmering with modern brilliance. The crowd admires her, but Vivian sees something else. A girl on the brink of repeating her mistakes. Edward enters. His presence still commanding, but his face tight with conflict. He notices Timothée lurking near the back, refusing the spotlight. The father's voice cuts through the music. Harsh, but cracking with vulnerability. Don't throw away your future just to escape my shadow. Timothée steps closer. His defiance replaced with raw honesty. Maybe I'm not running from you, Dad. Maybe I'm running toward who I really am. The orchestra swells. Zendaya turns suddenly, spotting Timothée across the room. Their eyes meet, the entire world fading into silence. Vivian notices. Edward notices. Time slows. The echoes of the past, the limo rides, the laughter, the impossible fairy tale collide with the pulse of the present. A montage follows. Sharp and fast. Zendaya storming through Rodeo Drive with Timothée beside her. Their laughter wild as they rush into a boutique, cameras chasing them. Vivian, watching from across the street, remembering the girl she once was. Edward at his desk, the city's skyline behind him, tearing a contract in half, as if cutting himself free. A limo door opening in slow motion, Zendaya stepping out in a modernized version of her mother's red dress, the past reborn in a new light. The music shifts into a powerful crescendo. Outside, under the electric glow of Los Angeles, Zendaya and Timothée argue passionately, their words fighting to mask what their hearts already know. Zendaya: I don't need saving Timothée, neither do I, but maybe. We need each other. She stares at him, torn between anger and longing. He takes a step forward. Silence hangs. Then finally her hand brushes his. Not fully holding, but not pulling away. Inside, Vivian and Edward stand together for the first time in years. The fight has left them, replaced by something softer. Vivian whispers, her voice trembling but steady, we can't live in the past, but maybe we can guide the future. Edward looks at her, his hardened edges breaking. He nods, almost to himself, and places his hand over hers. For once, there are no deals, no contracts. No bargains, just to people who once believed in love, daring to believe again. The screen explodes into a final montage faster. Brighter, unstoppable, Vivian's laugh echoing across Beverly Hills. Edward walking away from a boardroom, his tie undone, finally free. Zendaya and Timothée racing through the city at night, headlights blurring around them, a kiss beneath the glow of a hotel sign, as though sealing two generations of stories into one. The music reaches its peak, then cuts. Silence. On the screen, bold letters appear. Pretty Woman to 2025, a single line fades in beneath it. Love finds its way. Again, the screen goes black. Then, faintly, Julia Roberts' unmistakable laugh echoes once more, the sound of a story that refuses to end.